Hello and welcome back to Read Becca. Have you had enough of me yet? I've had a very video heavy week and it's been a big bookish week, so let's get right into it. This is my chatty catch up on everything that I read this week and everything I'm currently reading. So I finished up my BookTube prize reading, which was very heavy, and you should have seen already. I posted my wrap up for that now that the octafinals is over and it's moved on to the quarterfinals. So I had saved some things and wanted to lean into very light and fun, entertaining reading, and I did. My one really big reward that I was saving that came out the previous month was Legends and Lattes by Baldree, and I freaking loved it. It really delivered on the promise. So this is a slice of life, high fantasy world with a mundane story. We have basically an all inhuman cast. They're all kind of humanoid. So we've got our barbarian orc who decides to retire and has had enough of the questing life, and it's starting up a coffee shop. And she has this succubus assistant who they wind up having a little relationship. And it just delivered so much on that promise of really connecting with the characters, and that's what's really necessary for this kind of novel that doesn't have a ton of action or plot to it. It's basically just going through the struggles of becoming an entrepreneur. So I'm gonna have a full review of this one, but needless to say, I loved it. I think this is doing wildly well on Goodreads as far as ratings, so definitely if you have any interest in this, check it out immediately. Then I read a cozy mystery, and it was okay. It was very generic, I would say, so it delivered on what I was expecting, and interestingly also coffee themed. So I read On What Grounds by Cleo Coyle, and this was very dated, I think. So it really had a lot of like traditional gender role stuff that it was really hitting hard. It follows a woman who is divorced and her adult daughter no longer lives at home, so she has kind of just sold her suburban house that is too big for her and decided to resume a job as a cafe manager. And just as she is moving into an upstairs apartment above the cafe, she returns to the cafe to find it locked with the lights on, and the person who was there to close up is at the bottom of the stairs, injured and passed out. So of course she calls the police, they get involved, and she starts investigating this situation of what happened to her employee. And it's full of ridiculous foibles, like she's constantly messing with crime scenes, like even when the cops are there, she's just moving around the crime scene, making coffee, no big deal. And she's tells people information she shouldn't. It's ridiculous, but it was very entertaining, exactly what I was looking for. There is the whole terrible subplot of her kind of being pushed back together with her ex and her really being into every guy she runs into. It was so over the top. So it was a great way to spend a short few hours listening to this one on audio. Definitely entertained me. It wasn't anything special though. Then I got into my first book for the Picture This Readathon 2022, being put on by Shelley Swearingen and Jack from Spread Bookjoy, where we read children's picture books regardless of age, which if you've been around, you know I am a huge proponent of children's picture books. So I read The Search for Catbug, and I adore Catbug. You may or may not know I have a tattoo of Catbug on my body. And this is basically just like a Where's Waldo style of book. So you gotta search for Catbug among all the Catbugs. And I picked this for the prompt of space, because this is from a show, a cartoon hangover show that you see on YouTube, and it's moved around a lot. I think it's back on YouTube actually now. But it's all about this group of friends in space, and it's a very like weird sci-fi type thing. So this is just a fun little one. I have another Catbug book that's also like a weird children's book, but it's probably geared toward adults, even though it's written at a children's level. So I really love Catbug, obviously. So very fun one. Then I picked up Time Cat by Lloyd Alexander. So this was my finishing out of middle grade March. I really enjoyed this one. It really surprised me actually how inventive it was. So the cat is Gareth and his boy is Jason, and Jason is completely shocked to find that Gareth can talk one day and is wishing he had 9 lives. And Gareth is like, well, I don't have 9 lives anymore, but we can go back in time and see my past 9 lives. And those are spread all over time. And so they go back to ancient Egypt and see how the pharaohs worshipped cats. And they are there for when the Brightons domesticated cats, these wild cats, and how they kind of formed a relationship between species. And they're there in Italy when a young boy, Leonardo, paints for the first time, and he paints a picture of a cat, of course. So it's so fun and very, very goofy, but yeah, it's really entertaining to see them jump through time to all these significant historical events and places. So yeah, it was just really low stakes, and every time something went wrong that they had to leave the time they were in. So really, really fun and quick, easy read. So that's everything I finished this week. In progress, I am into the final part of The Fall of Babel by Josiah Bancroft, my current ongoing tome. I know I've had this going for all of this year so far, I think, and we're nearly finished finally now that I'm done with my booktube prize stuff. That's not taking up all my time anymore, so I think I'm actually going to get through this weekend, hopefully. And then I started another one because I can never have just one book going on. I started First Person by Richard Flanagan from my TBR shelf as well. So I don't know if I'm loving this one, but I think it's taking a turn. This follows a man who he's not a writer. He hasn't really written anything. He thinks he is, though. He's like that dude who is sure he's gonna write the next great novel, and he takes it very seriously. So he's kind of insufferable to read about, but I think we are just getting to the point where he's writing this memoir for somebody. He's ghostwriting it and has realized that he's actually in over his head. He can't actually deliver the amount of words that he's gonna need to get this done, and he has so little experience that I wish it were more self-aware of that, but I think it's turning that way. So we'll see if it remains with him being the kind of jerky dude he is. I may be about it, but I think we're going a good way with it. I think that is it for bookish stuff. I am continuing on my Amazing Race binge. I was disappointed it skipped from season 7 to season 23. So I thought I had all these like 30 seasons available to watch, and really there's a big chunk that is not available that I can't get to. So I am still enjoying it. I've still got several seasons to go. But that has taken up a lot of my time in terms of my watching stuff. However, I did start watching Richard Osman's House of Games, and that's something that Shannon from That's So Poe had pointed me to, and really, really enjoying it. It's like a British quiz show, and Richard Osman is obviously wildly popular right now for his books, the Thursday Murder Club series, and he's just really delightful to watch. So they're really, really fun episodes, very, very quick and snappy. So I've been watching those on YouTube and really enjoying it. In life stuff, really, it's been kind of a bummer of a week. I'm really just feeling burnt out. Again, I think last week I was feeling that a lot, and we had kind of ups and downs, but yeah, we had a really big bookish week, or even just yesterday, Friday, we had the announcement of the new Our Fantasy bingo card, and we had the announcement of the BookTube prize octofinals results, and I just couldn't really get hyped about either of those things, so that was a bummer. Like, I just don't have the energy right now. So I'm hoping, I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm hoping this weekend I can get a little bit more rest and relaxation and be recharged a bit. So we did have all of the seasons this week, so you'll see some footage from that, but it was a little wild, very up and down in weather, and I feel like I say that most weeks. It's been truly wild this week though. So we're still in spring, maybe, and it's beautiful out today, but it's looking like we're supposed to get rain now every single day this coming week. So yeah, it never lets up here. It's crazy. I think at least part of what has been so heavy this week is really everything going on in the media. And I don't terribly follow like what's going on in pop culture very much, but man, it was impossible to escape this week. It was everywhere. And I think I never would have identified myself with the term pacifist, but I think this week really defined myself as identifying with that term. I was very shocked to learn a lot of people that I know are really okay with assault. Like, so weird. Yeah, so apparently I have kind of an outlier view on that. Don't know. I do strangely, I've talked about this in previous rants before, like that the past couple years has made me really lose a lot of faith in humanity that I don't think is recoverable. And yet I'm very hopeful by the fact that I feel that a lot of the views that I see, I think those people have room to evolve and progress in the future. And so I'm hopeful about that. Normally I think that's where I would be, but after the past couple years, my views have been much more like ready to give up on everybody. So I'm glad that I was able to hear those views and think, well, you have room to better yourself. So yeah, it's been a week. Anyway, let's get on to my recommendations quickly. So I did mention Legends and Lattes. There was a fantastic interview between Cleo here on BookTube and Travis Baldree, the author, and they talked through the writing process and his having written this for NaNoWriMo, the fact that he is a professional audiobook narrator and the process of doing that. So it was a really fun interview, really great, very casual between the two of them, and Patrick is always so enthusiastic, so I really recommend checking that one out. Then I had Mara from Books Like Whoa, is a very wide reader in terms of genres and style, but she does a lot of video essays as well, beyond just the BookTube stuff. And usually those are tied in with books, but she did one this week that was absolutely wonderful on the aesthetic of success and whether or not work ethic is good. And I really enjoyed that. There is this essay in Ursula Le Guin's The Language of the Night collection, which that essay collection is from the 60s and 70s, so it's quite old, and yet it's still so relevant. That essay collection talks about writing. It talks about genre in terms of like sci-fi and fantasy, and one of the things she addresses in an essay there is the idea that reading is often viewed as for children if it's not monetarily valuable in some way. So you should be reading to better yourself, basically. And she connects that back in America to puritanical ideals and the idea of being hardworking. So she has very similar thoughts to what Mara drew from there. And I really liked hearing that conversation from Mara's perspective. So I will link that down below as well. I really enjoyed that one. So that's it for me this week, I think. I'm hoping we have a much quieter week in the world because we all need it. So thank you so much for watching, as always. It's about 40 degrees, very cold. Rue insisted he had to come out and do some bird watching. Huh, buddy? What the crap? Yes, that is ice balls. It's March 31st and it's icing. Oh, springtime in the Midwest. Cinnamon is not happy about coming outside. We had to go to the vet today for Cinnamon's annual checkup and shots. You can tell it was a very exhausting day.